السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه أما بعد. Alhamdulillah. Brothers and sisters, we welcome you to Ad-Dars al-Rabi'u, which is the fourth lesson. And this is our fourth session of Foundation 1. In this presentation, we are going to be introducing concepts relating to the formation of words from their root word. And this is going to be dealt with in the subject that we spoke about earlier that is called Sorf. Introducing Sorf. Sorf linguistically means changing something or turning it. We know in the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, he said, Ya musarrif al-qulub. Musarrif. Sarrafa yusarrifu musarrif. Ya musarrif al-qulub. Sarrif qalbi ila ta'atik. O the one who turns the heart, or the one who changes the hearts. Change my heart to be into your obedience. So that is one of the meaning of sarf. It means changing or turning. The istilah, conventional meaning is changing the source word. In Arabic, as we said, they are root words. This is called the masdar. It is the source words. And it is changing it into different forms. Because the masdar cannot express all the meanings. It has to change. There has to be some change to bring about some other meaning. So this is what is the subject of sarf. It takes a root word and then it changes it into different forms in order to express different meanings that can only be expressed through these forms. The source expresses a particular meaning, as we're going to see shortly, inshallah. And then all of these forms that are built upon it, they express different meanings, each one in its own pattern. Each pattern that is formed from the masdar expresses a particular meaning, inshallah. So this is what is the meaning of sarf istilahan, changing the source word into different forms in order to express different meanings that can only be expressed through these forms. So what do we mean by source, masdar, and what do we mean by bina, form? These are the two words that were used, inshallah, source and form, that were used in the definition. Source or masdar in the istilah means the name of the act done. So there's an action that is being done, is given a particular name, right? Like for example, the word akala, which means to eat, its masdar will be aklun. In English, it is called the verbal noun, and it does not have a tense, right? So we have examples of this, aklun, which means the act of eating. Shurbun means the act of drinking. This is the masdar. This is the name of the act that is done, and this is the masdar. And this is the root from which all the other words stem. Form or bina is plural is abniya. From a language perspective, it means to put something on something else. You know the word, the hadith, Buni al-Islamu ala khams. Islam is built on 5 pillars. Built, it means like something is placed on something else. Bina has to do with building. So you put something on something else so that it stays. That is, it's like a building. In istilah, it refers to the makeup of a word. The way the word is built from the original form, plus all the extra letters in their respective position. And also it also implies a number of letters that has to be added, inshallah, and the order in which they are added. And also it also implies the haraka that are added and the sukoon that are added, etc. After understanding the meaning of sarf, and words are derived from other words, there is another concept that we have to discuss, which is called Jaamidah or Mushtaqqah. And this has to do with the way of the words. Which word would accept sarf and which word would not accept it. So Jaamidah linguistically means stiff or still. In istilah, it means those words that mostly cannot take different forms. They might take one or two different forms sometimes, some of them, but mostly they don't take different forms. Mushtaqqah, literally, it means derived. In istilah, It refers to those words that can be put into different forms. So here we have words that are stiff, they are still, they don't move around, you can't play around with them and change around them, and there are words that are derived, which means those words can be put into different forms. Most of the asma are Jaamidah. Most of the asma are Jaamidah, meaning they are not changeable. That is, they cannot be put into different forms. While most of the af'al are Mushtaqqah. That is, they can be changed and put into different forms. As for the huruf, they do not change at all. So neither of these terms can be applied to them, inshallah. So they are neither Jaamidah or Mushtaqqah. Our focus is with those words that change much. That is, the fi'al or the af'al. Knowing the af'al and how they change is the key to the science of sarf. And this is the basis, inshallah, because these are the words that change. These are the words that you can derive other words from. So this is what we are interested in, inshallah. So after knowing how that words are derived from other words, we have to know how to go about this process. Now the scholars have developed a study to form the words. They came up with something that is called Al-Meezaanus-Sarfiyy. Meezan means scale or pattern. So it's a pattern of sarf, or the sarf pattern. This is a scale or pattern used to study the forms of the words. It differentiates between the original letters and the extra letters in most words, and allow the student to know the original place of the letter in the scale or pattern. The base of the scale pattern consists of 3 letters. Pay attention to this. This is very important. Fa, Ain, and Lam. Why were these letters chosen specifically? Because the verb fa'ala means did. And that can be an alternative for any other verb. That's why it was chosen. That is, any verb that is asked for can have fa'ala as the reply. For example, if someone asks, akalta, did you eat? You can say, fa'alt, I did. Or if someone asks, sharibt, did you drink? You can say fa'alt, which means I did. So this is the basis for using these 3 letters. Now the other question is, why does the scale consist of 3 letters originally and not more? The scale consists of 3 letters because most of the words in the Arabic language consist of 3 letters. And the least amount of letters you can find for any ism or fi'l is generally 3 letters. So this is the reason that 3 was chosen. Alhamdulillah. After that, anything can be built. But you have the one that is mostly used by everybody, and that is the one. That is why this was. So now that we have understood that we can put words on scale or on a mizan, we can put it on a particular pattern. How do we do this? Putting words on a scale or pattern. How do we go about that? The scale itself is called al-waznu. And the word that is weighed is called al-mawzoon. When weighing a 3-letter word, we place the letters along with their haraka parallel to the fa, ain, and lam. Notice we place the letters and the haraka, right? For example, da, ra, ba. We have them going. Da is the first. We did this word before. Daraba means to hit. Da, ra, ba. We place the letters along with their haraka parallel to the fa, parallel to the ain, parallel to the lam. So da, fatha would be fa fatha, would be parallel to fa fatha because that's the first letter. The middle letter is ra, so it falls on the ain because ain is the middle letter in the 3 letters, and lam is the final letter. Lam at fatha here. If anyone has a kasra, like for example we have sha riba, it would be fa'ila. Okay, so the scale takes the harakat of the words that is weighed. Inshallah, right? So the last letter, ba, is the lam letter. The dad is the fa letter, the ain is the ra is the ain letter, and the ba is the lam letter. The letters in the scale will take the same haraka as the word being weighed. Okay? The letters in the scale will take the same haraka as the letters being weighed, as we explained. Each letter of the original 3-letter word corresponds to one of the letters in the scale, the first letter or of the original three-letter word is called fa'ul kalima, the fa of the word, or simply the fa, because it is placed in the scale over the fa. The second letter of the original three-letter word is called ainul kalima, the ain of the word, or the ain, because it is placed in the scale over the ain, or the middle letter. And the third letter of the original three-letter word is called lamul kalima, the lam of the word, or the lam, because it is placed in the scale over the lam. This is the case for the original letters of any three-letter verbs. Okay? So any other three-letter verbs take the same format, inshallah. When we put the three-letter madi, daraba, he hit, in the scale we say daraba ala wazni fa'ala. Put alima, that means he knew, in the scale and say lima ala wazni fa'ila, like shariba ala wazni fa'ila. Okay, so inshallah that is important to pay attention to. So finally, every scalar pattern is specific and has its own specific implication. In other words, each specific form has a certain specific implication. For example, the word daraba is a certain form. Its letters are on a particular scale which conveys the past tense meaning specifically. Daraba means he hit, past tense. This scale expresses that the action took place in the past, so it is the past tense. And this scale does not express any other thing, any other tense, or any other derivative of the verb. There is not any other scalar pattern that can express the past tense of this word. We cannot switch scales or pattern. That's important to understand. We can only use a scalar pattern for the meaning that it gives and nothing else. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us to understand the value of this subject. Study it carefully, listen over and over until you get a clear understanding of it, and inshallah we will deal with it in the weekend class, inshallah, in detail. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.